As Marshal of the University, it is my honor to declare the proceedings of the 513th Convocation of the University of Chicago open and to introduce the university's 13th President, Robert J. Zimmer. Please be seated.
Good afternoon and welcome. As the Marshal has just announced, today's ceremony is the 513th time that the University of Chicago has assembled for a convocation. From the time that classes began here in the fall of 1892, the university has held a convocation ceremony at the end of every quarter, allowing students to be recognized and celebrated for their achievements immediately upon completion of their studies, and to do so through formal exercises just as we do today. The primary purpose of convocation is, of course, to award degrees. But these occasions satisfy other important objectives as well. At convocation number 1, on January 2nd, 1893, the university's first president, William Rainey Harper, set out goals for these ceremonies, goals which, 119 years later, we continue to observe. Harper believed these occasions of high ceremony to be a necessary and nourishing part of the life of a university, and intended them to literally call together or cause to assemble all parts of the university community. In Harper's words, convocations are meant to bind together into a unity the many complex and diverging forms of activity which constitute our university's life and work. Today's ceremony, then, is also about reflecting upon the whole of what we do across the university's many libraries, laboratories, and classrooms that make up our campus. And in addition, it affords us all a moment to reflect upon the accomplishments of our past, the opportunities for our future, individually, collectively, and institutionally. I confer the degrees awarded this afternoon by authority delegated to me by the University of Chicago Board of Trustees, represented today by Trustee Dennis Keller. And I do so on behalf of the faculty of the University of Chicago that has the responsibility for the educational programs recently completed. I welcome you again to the 513th Convocation, a time-honored ritual that recognizes achievements of which we can all be proud.
As Provost of the University, it is my privilege to introduce Sidney R. Nagel, who will offer today's Convocation Address. Professor Nagel, the Stein-Freiler Distinguished Service Professor of Physics, is an outstanding scholar with a restless imagination and courage to found new fields. His insights into the intricate relationship between glassy relaxation and granular flow provide a new framework for both scientific and technological advances. Moreover, Professor Nagel has managed to translate his insights into the workings of the natural world into artistic expression, exhibiting his high-speed photographs of droplet formation at art galleries and serving as a visiting scholar with the San Francisco Exploratorium. In an exemplary University of Chicago career spanning 37 years, Professor Nagel has been a beloved leader, teacher, and researcher. He served as Master of the Physical Sciences Collegiate Division and Associate Dean of the Division of the Physical Sciences from 1997 to 2000, and he received the university's highest teaching recognition, the Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching, in 1996. Professor Nagel has been honored for his distinguished accomplishments with the American Physical Society's Oliver E. Buckley Condensed Matter Prize and election to the National Academy of Sciences. The title of his talk today is The Power of Observation. Sid.
Greetings and congratulations. You have worked hard to get to this point, spending many hours in the library and the laboratory, in the classroom and the carrel. After all your effort and the support from family and friends, I can only hope that your teachers have taught you something, and that you now know more than you did when you arrived. But this puts me in mind of my oldest friend, who after graduating from Chicago as an undergraduate, went on to medical school. During his first year, he often exclaimed how much the medical profession knew. However, in his last year, his tune had changed, and he bewailed that medicine knew so little. I confess that I have felt the same way. When I started as a physics graduate student, I was in a panic to learn enough to pass the required exams. And now I look around and realize that we understand so little of what we see. This is what I wish to talk about today. The earliest questions in physics often related to daily experience. How did objects move? Why couldn't heat be transferred directly from a colder to a hotter body? Modern science has progressed far beyond that point. The great allure of physics has been to delve to the ever smaller or ever larger aspects of our world, eschewing the middle as mundane. We know the elementary particles that make up visible matter. Right here, work at Fermilab's Tevatron discovered the top quark and made predictions about where the Higgs would be found. The world rejoiced when the Higgs was finally discovered this past year at CERN. We know about the Big Bang and that the universe expands at an accelerating rate. At extremely low temperatures, we understand, due to work in our Provost lab, about the nature of the pressure-driven quantum phase transitions. These are deep and important discoveries. This is, we think, what modern physics is about. But there's physics to be learned in the more ordinary world around us. Let me give you an example. I hold in my hand two forks. You can all see what they are. Now I ask you, which one of these would you want to plug into an electric outlet? Caution, the answer could kill you. The wrong answer could kill you. Okay. So, clearly, the way an object looks foretells about how it carries electricity. Now, if you want to stir boiling water, which of the two forks would you use so as not to burn your fingers? Again, you could tell just by looking. The optical properties of material, that is, the way it looks, are related to its electrical and thermal properties. Why is this? It is an old question, but one that gets to the heart of how the world around us is made up. I like this question because it also shows that simply by observing the world, yes, just with one's eyes, one can identify important scientific questions. I have just finished an experiment of co-teaching a course with the sculptor-architect. In this course, sponsored by the university's new Gray Center, our goal was to explore the role of observation in our different endeavors as artists and scientists. We asked our students to observe aspects of the light around them and create an artistic project that made use of the science of their observation. Our hope was that we could find a realm where an investigation could give satisfaction both on scientific as well as on aesthetic or emotional grounds. Having been in a physics department all my adult life, it has been tacitly assumed, if not required, that the only relevance my work could have would be strictly scientific. Any hint of emotion would detract from its impact and reliability. I keep wondering if there is another department in a university where both sides of human experience could be equally expressed. It is perhaps the Department of the Indefinable, and as far as I can tell, it sadly does not yet exist. The issue of how to observe is important for art and science alike. It has been addressed in novels and drama as well as in philosophic texts. Victor Hugo in Les Miserables asked, "Where the telescope ends, the microscope begins, and which has the wider vision? You may choose." Hugo foretold one of the grand syntheses of physics, that astrophysics and cosmology, concerned with the structure of our universe, is deeply connected to elementary particle physics, concerned with the very, very small. But Hugo then continued, "How do we know that the creation of worlds are not determined by falling grains of sand?" He understood, even before the advent of modern science, that the workings of our world are wrapped up in things we can touch and see with unaided vision. This thought was explored explicitly by Tom Stoppard in his play Arcadia, which contemplates chaos in our lives. There he has a modern-day protagonist exclaim, "It makes me so happy to be at the beginning again, knowing almost nothing. People were talking about the end of physics. Relativity and quantum looked as if they were going to clean out the whole problem between them. A theory of everything. But they only explained the very big and the very small. The universe, the elementary particles. The ordinary-sized stuff, which is our lives, the things people write poetry about, clouds, daffodils, waterfalls, and what happens in a cup of coffee when the cream goes in, these things are full of mystery. We're better at predicting events at the edge of the galaxy or inside the nucleus of an atom than whether it'll rain. We can't even predict the next drip from a dripping tap when it gets irregular." Then he goes on, "The future is disorder. It's the best possible time to be alive when almost everything you thought you knew is wrong." So much for what you learned in your classes. The playwright's proposal is that we know almost nothing and that almost everything we have taught you is wrong. Is this really the case? What science also teaches is that our knowledge can be tested by rigorous experiment or logical analysis, and that we can learn from our mistakes. This is perhaps what is missing from Stoppard's account. Earlier in the play, another conversation occurred. When you stir rice pudding, the spoonful of jam spreads itself round, making red trails. But if you stir backward, the jam will not come together again. Indeed, the pudding does not notice and continues to turn pink, just as before. We must stir our way onward, mixing as we go, disorder out of disorder, into disorder, until pink is complete. I'm perturbed by this conclusion and would like to see if experiment can shed light on this passage. So, I have assembled before you a classic experiment. I have two plastic cylinders, and in between them, I have a liquid. And I am next going to inject a dye into that liquid. So if I can do this. This is the worst lab coat I've ever owned. Okay, and so I'm going to inject a dye. I have made a C, standing for Chicago, our home. Okay, now I'm going to turn the inner cylinder, well, so everyone should see. You can see over there. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this, and it gets mixed up. Okay, so Tom Stoppard seems to be correct. The dye is mixed with the other fluid and has disappeared completely from view. But now I'm going to employ my powers as a physicist and try to reverse time. Okay, I turn in the backward direction, and let's see what happens. Behold, the letter C has now reappeared. We've recovered our home. I assure you I have not played a trick. I have simply demonstrated a theorem in fluid mechanics. But I hope you agree it is certainly surprising and counter to intuition. What is the point of this demonstration besides trying to surprise and entertain you? It is that nature has this disturbing tendency to do what it wants rather than what you expect. If we accustom ourselves to careful observation, we can find other examples in abundance. But first you have to think about what you expect and be willing to realize that you were surprised. To explore these surprises in pursuit of underlying principles is one of the sacred and magisterial jobs of science. I do not deny the importance of searching for first causes and for finding a theory of everything. And there is, indeed, beauty and inspiration in large-scale science and technology. The great instruments of science leave us full of awe. Rupert Brooke, in his poem, The Great Lover, called it the keen, unpassioned beauty of a great machine. But there are also more delicate sources of beauty in the more mundane examples of science that invest our daily experience. I would like to argue that they're even more important to us since they are responsible for the texture of our lives. This is not the only reason that they should be explored. Nature tends to use the same set of principles over and over again at different scales. The same mathematics and physics used to predict the Higgs had first been used to explain superconductors. Nature, as well as history, repeats itself. As the philosopher Alfred North Whitehead said, we notice that a great idea in the background of dim consciousness is like a phantom ocean beating upon the shores of human life in successive waves of specialization. I hope that the course in Science and Art that I just finished co-teaching will have an influence on our students. I hope the scientists in the class will continue to reflect on the aesthetic aspects of what they will be doing in their future work. I hope that the artists will see observation as a skill and science as a way to gain intimacy with their subject matter. Science is powerful in its predictions, but is also powerful as a metaphor. The experiment that I did for you today showed a surprising property of fluids, but I hope you also take it as a metaphor. The C stood not only for Chicago, but also for how you learned to think during your time here. That is, what you really learned in your classes. In your life, you will go out and you may believe that much of this education has been lost in the turbulence and disorder of your lives. But I hope this demonstration shows that no matter how faint the trace may be, you can always turn times backwards and come home. May you return often. Thank you.
As we begin the awarding of the degrees, may I call your attention to the Award of Honors listed in the Convocation program, as well as the names of candidates receiving degrees today in absentia. At this time, in the favoring presence of the congregation here assembled, the deans of several faculties or their appointed representatives will present the candidates for academic degrees to the president of the university. The dean of the college will now present candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science in programs in the college.
Mr. President, these students have completed the prescribed program of undergraduate studies. On behalf of the faculty of the college, I now have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, and I welcome you to the Fellowship of Educated Men and Women.
Stephen Richard Barnes, Ivana Evelis Baruas, Christopher James Clee Bird, Aisha Chen, Eric C. Chow, Shane Hunter Coughlin, Kenneth Paul Duick, Amy Lisa Ferguson, David Paul Hampton, Blake Tejera Hartley, Paul Cher Waihu, Dennis Inal, Jung Min Kang, Haijin Kim, Yongsuk Kim, Brett Andrew Kirkin, Ashwini Krishnan, Bryce Cameron Lanham, Jingji Yang, Wenlong Lo, Stephen Orville Palmtag, Katarzyna Rajniak, Hillary Janet Ross, Emily Jane Sapienza, Robert Martin Sayre, Andrew Thomas Shuttle, Brandon Allen Singer, Charles Edward Vidal, Dylan J. Yamamoto.
The Dean of the William B. and Catherine V. Graham School of Continuing Liberal and Professional Studies will now present candidates for the degree of Master of Liberal Arts in programs in the Graham School.
Mr. President, these students have completed the program of studies prescribed by the faculty of the William B. and Catherine V. Graham School of Continuing Liberal and Professional Studies. I now have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Master of Liberal Arts.
You have successfully completed a program of advanced study in the liberal arts, and by virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Liberal Arts, and I express the hope that your learning will lead you to advance knowledge in or enrich the practice of your chosen field.
Matthew John Abbott, Zandre Labouchan, Rosemarie Anna Mitchell, Thomas Lee Mitchell, Robert Prado Scales, Adam R. Zalitsky.
The Associate Dean of the Division of the Biological Sciences will now present candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in programs in the Division of the Biological Sciences and the Pritzker School of Medicine.
Mr. President, each of these students has attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and has prepared a dissertation that contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research. On behalf of the faculty of the Division of the Biological Sciences and the Pritzker School of Medicine, I now have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Mark Frederick Chacho. Kyle Thomas Dolan. Bin He. Andrew Robert Jameson. Kin Leung. Stephen Lanther Mallon. Daniel Roche. Brian Frederick Singer. Sruthalaya Swaminathan.
The Dean of the Division of the Humanities will now present candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts and Doctor of Philosophy in programs in the Division of the Humanities.
Mr. President, this student has completed the program of studies prescribed by the faculty of the Division of the Humanities and the special program approved by her department. I now have the honor to present her as a candidate for the degree of Master of Arts.
You have successfully completed a program of advanced study in the humanities, and by virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts, and I express the hope that your learning will lead you to advance knowledge in or enrich the practice of your chosen field.
Mimosa A. Shah. Mr. President, each of the students I now present has attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and has prepared a dissertation that contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research. On behalf of the faculty of the Division of the Humanities, I have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Melissa Rose Barton. Andrew Alexander Greenwood. Paul Wallace Keene. Young Ho Park. Clark A. Remington. Andrew Joseph Westerhouse. Lin Yang. Nathan Murray Zuckerman.
The Dean of the Division of the Physical Sciences will now present candidates for the degrees of Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy in programs in the Division of the Physical Sciences.
Mr. President, these students have completed the program of studies prescribed by the faculty of the Division of the Physical Sciences and the special programs approved by their departments. I now have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Master of Science.
You have successfully completed a program of advanced study in the physical sciences, and by virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Science, and I express the hope that your learning will lead you to advance knowledge in or enrich the practice of your chosen field.
Michael Adam Abramowitz. Ashish Agarwal. Mary Catherine Andorfer, Michael Galassi, Fenge Gao, Muji Li, Xinlong Li, Yan Shu Lin, Jishi Lin, Christo Papazov, Ying Shi, Hui Zhu, Kristen Elise Ziegler. Mr. President, each of the students I now present has attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and has prepared a dissertation which contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research. On behalf of the faculty of the Division of the Physical Sciences, I have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Ashish Nath Adhikari, Ye Fu, Han Han, Wesley Ketchum, Mark Mayenshine Klein, Christopher Fred Neese, Git Purani Panichayan Kun, Elizabeth Ann Wiltrout.
The Dean of the Division of the Social Sciences will now present candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts and Doctor of Philosophy in programs in the Division of the Social Sciences.
Mr. President, these students have completed the program of studies prescribed by the faculty of the Division of the Social Sciences and the special programs approved by their departments. And I have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Master of Arts.
You have successfully completed a program of advanced study in the social sciences, and by virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts, and I express the hope that your learning will lead you to advanced knowledge in or enrich the practice of your chosen field.
Daniela Beatriz Alzuru, Jason William Blasing, Marjorie Lee Bush, Felicia D. Butts, Rebecca E. Epps, Robert Hanna, Anne Kathleen Heffernan, Mohammed Naim Pervides, Summer Ray Schrader, Fang Zheng Zhu. Mr. President, each of the students I now present has attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and has prepared a dissertation which contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research. On behalf of the faculty of the Division of the Social Sciences, I have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, and I welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Leanne Bowden Ryan, Arvind Elangovan, Parker Daly Everett, Jax Thomas Fassan, Christian Goldhammer, Margaret Dia Hunsaker, Naveen Mohan Katarpal, Elaine Mary Oliphant, Christian Ponce de Leon Albergna, Laurencio O. Sanguino, Leela Devra Shapiro, Fei Xiang Wang.
The Dean of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business will now present candidates for the degrees of International Master of Business Administration, Master of Business Administration, and Doctor of Philosophy in programs in the University of Chicago Booth School of Business.
Mr. President, this student has completed the program of professional studies prescribed by the faculty of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. I now have the honor to present him as a candidate for the degree of International Master of Business Administration.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of International Master of Business Administration, and I express the hope that your work will further global understanding and the responsible development of international business for the benefit of all people.
Richard K. Gehring. Mr. President, these students have completed the program of professional studies prescribed by the faculty of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. I now have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Business Administration, and I express the hope that your work will further wise choices in the allocation of economic resources for the benefit of all people.
Prasad V. Aduri. Alan Scott Anderson. Edward Ernest Anderson III. Roweda Asalami. Dominic F. J. Bardaly. Janet Bausnani. Derek Clayton Bly. Adam Paul Bordelli. Philip David Bronstetter. Douglas Carlson. Megan Carlson. Karaushi Casper. Justin R. Karaushi Casper. Karaushi Casper. Justin R. Chun. Olamide Charles Deramula. Marina Gebahos Pahaiba. Rafael Dalugo. Siddharth B. Deshmukh. Kyle W. Dimer. Brian William Dwyer. Catherine Roel Easterly. Lena L. Bashbashi. Michael Ian Feinstein. Jennifer Ann Fetzer. Megan Funicall. John Anthony Fitchwell, Jr. Satyanarayan Ganesan, Deepak Gaur, Zvi Goldstein, Yuchen Gong, Nathaniel Granatier, Jian Gu, Jeffrey Holland, Gabrielle Hakome, Monica Mira Jane, Deepa Jasjankar, Bilal Javed, Urada Jayraman, Javier Miguel Juan Gandial, Sari Kaganoff, Joseph William Kiefer, Duraj Kandawal, Jeffrey David Kuhl, Junil Guak, Lauren K. Landenfeld, Robert William Lee, Ray Guang Lian, Nathaniel William Lindsley, Magdalena Lipka, Ran Lu, Stephen Garrett Livingston, William L. Mays, Christopher Joseph Mark, Christopher John McInnes, Jason Harris Mercy, Ulian Mihai, Mahesh Narayanan, John Robert Nelson, Ramu Netam, Shivaram Nastalia, Thomas Oakes, Christopher Olson, Jasmine M. Patel, Siddhartha Arun Patwardhan, Christopher R. Poole, Guresh Venkat Prasad, Kelly Lamont Richardson, Nancy K. Rode, Krit K. Rosario, Drew Ronald Rolio, Dmitry Semarov, John Sander, Amaya Shrikant Sabautnaker, Kevin Gerard Sarb, Lisa Marie Schlonsky, Matthew Sakurki, Nicholas Serratus, Michael Pao Chow Cheng, Shashithar S. Shivyogimat, Arena Schlafer, Amit Singh, Philip Urs Strahl, Veska Avova Suliva, Rachel Elizabeth Sullivan, Lisa Ann Tallman, Wenli Tan, John Richardson Thompson, James Anthony Trincana, Rico Tsukamoto, Zachary Jacob Waltz, Lee M. Wolf, Babak Raymond Yusufian, Grace Yu, Omer Zubair,
Mr. President, the students I now present have attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and have prepared a dissertation which contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research. On behalf of the faculty of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, I have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Ayhan Aydin. Hernando Enrique Daniel Gomez Gaviria.
The Dean of the Divinity School will now present candidates for the degrees of Master of Divinity and Doctor of Philosophy in programs in the Divinity School.
Mr. President, this student is academically qualified to engage in the profession of ministry, having completed a course of study prescribed by the faculty of the Divinity School. I have the honor to present her as a candidate for the degree of Master of Divinity.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Divinity, and I express the hope that your work will contribute to a learned and effective ministry dedicated to the spiritual welfare of humankind.
Alexis Katya Vaughn. Mr. President, each of the students I now present has attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and has prepared a dissertation which contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research in the academic study of religion. On behalf of the faculty in the Divinity School, I have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Alan J. Levinovitz. Alain René Epp Weaver. Thomas Edward Zabrowski II.
The Dean of the Irving B. Harris Graduate School of Public Policy Studies will now present a candidate for the degree of Master of Public Policy in programs in the Harris School.
Mr. President, this student has completed the course of professional study prescribed by the faculty of the Irving B. Harris Graduate School of Public Policy Studies. I now have the honor to present her as a candidate for the degree of Master of Public Policy.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Public Policy, and I express the hope that your work will guide public policy toward the enhancement of the common good.
Xiao Yao Wang.
The Dean of Students of the School of Social Service Administration will now present candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in programs in the School of Social Service Administration.
Mr. President, these students have completed the program of studies prescribed by the faculty of the School of Social Service Administration. I now have the honor to present them as candidates for the degree of Master of Arts.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts, and I express the hope that your work will promote the welfare of individuals and the achievement of a socially just society.
Carrie Higgins Keller. Liana Lopez Supero. Matthew Martin Rafel.
Please stand for the singing of the university's alma mater. Please be seated.
This is a special day for all of you upon whom I have just conferred a degree. And it is likewise a special day for family members and friends who may be here to join you. It marks the completion of your study, or at least one phase of that study, a path that I trust has been challenging. And I hope you are enjoying this moment of celebration and perhaps moment of reflection that this convocation affords. You are now all graduates of the University of Chicago. Because of your achievements that we celebrate today with your family and friends, each of you will always be connected to the University of Chicago, a connection that I hope that you and we will foster for many years. The University of Chicago is an institution driven from its inception by an idea that one could create and continuously renew a university focused on rigorous, intense inquiry and analysis. The university, through its work every day, expresses the view that clarity derives from the clash of ideas, the challenge of assumptions, and the willingness to accept answers only when they meet the tests of argument. We seek understanding that is complex, expandable, and fluid, rather than simple and rigid. An understanding that reflects analysis rather than ideology, that accepts complexity over the comfort of simplicity, that seeks to delineate both the power and limitations of argument, an understanding always ready to incorporate new data which can emerge and which must in fact be sought. We believe that the best education, the most empowering education, and the most powerful learning take place in the environment of constant challenge that is implicit in this culture of rigorous inquiry, and that this culture is responsible for producing ideas of power and importance to humankind. This focus on rigorous inquiry has defined the University of Chicago, its research and its education at all levels since its beginning, and it continues to do so today. The university and its culture are renewed every day by the work of its faculty, students, and staff. And while it is natural to focus on your own achievements and what they mean for your future, you can also take great satisfaction in your contribution to the ongoing renewal of your university, the University of Chicago. I know that as graduates of this university, in the coming years, you will be called upon to act, to speak, and to lead. And like so many University of Chicago graduates who have come before you, you will approach this challenge of leadership empowered by your University of Chicago education. The power of analysis and ideas that you have experienced here and that are now your own will serve you wherever your path takes you and whatever challenges you confront. Each of you who received a degree today has received help and support from parents, family, spouses, partners, children, friends, mentors, or university faculty and staff. And while it is your achievements that we mark today, all of these supporters can rightly take great pride in your accomplishment. And so to all degree recipients, please accept my congratulations for all you have achieved. I wish you all good fortune and happiness in the years ahead. Enjoy your coming adventures wherever they may lead you.
This now concludes the 513th Convocation of the University of Chicago. Crescat scientia vita escolator. Let knowledge grow from more to more, and so be human life enriched.